Good morning, everyone. My name is Adam Livingston. So happy to be with you again. You are all my dearest family. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you and all your support. There's nothing I'd rather be doing than going through the greatest wealth transfer in human history with all of you. Today's topic is absolutely nuclear, and I need you to share this with the world. I am the Bitcoin Wizard, an absolute warrior on the front lines spreading the truth. We need to reach every single jaded, naive real estate investor on planet Earth. We need people playing the Bitcoin game, and together we can spread that message to everyone. Let us begin today's execution. This isn't a friendly little debate where Bitcoin plays a neutron bomb and your rental duplex plays the cockroach that thinks plywood counts as armor. Before we melt the stage, quick roll call. If you own more plungers than private keys, congratulations, you're the target demographic. If you measure wealth indoors, grab a seat near the splash zone. There will be shrapnel. First truth grenade, Bitcoin is 21 million digital diamonds floating in hyperspace. Real estate is a chain-smoking substitute teacher who tells you the test is on Friday and then dies mid-lecture, leaving you a syllabus written in lead paint. Your precious tangible house just gained 3% while termites gained 5 pounds. Bitcoin gained 60% and didn't eat anything besides fossilized FUD tweets. Liquidity, Bitcoin settles in 10 minutes faster than Dave Ramsey can say baby step with a straight face. Your house needs a mortgage broker, a home inspection, and a seance to remove the ghost of the 2008 housing bubble. Bitcoin's upkeep is a hardware wallet that costs less than your quarterly HOA fine. That was probably given to you for hanging a towel on the balcony. Real estate's upkeep is a septic tank that explodes the same week your tenants bred raccoons in the attic. Tax, Bitcoin invites you to Puerto Rico for 0% capital gains. Property tax never sleeps. It stalks you like Michael Myers in a Zillow hoodie. Sovereignty, Bitcoin fits in 12 English words. The only words your house fits into are, dear property owner, we're raising your millage rate. And inheritance, Bitcoin passes with a multi-sig envelope. Your beloved bungalow passes with probate courts, siblings who suddenly remember the word equity, and a lawyer billing by the hour because his boat needs a new boat. So strap in, Ramsey disciples, BlackRock landlords, and everyone addicted to drywall dividends. Over the next 11 slides, we'll peel back the drywall, expose the black mold, and show why Bitcoin isn't merely an investment upgrade, it's the jailbreak for capital itself. Behold the scorecard, folks. Raw numbers hotter than a foreclosure notice in Phoenix. 5-year CAGR Bitcoin clock 62%. That's your money doing backflips off a SpaceX booster. Real estate dribbles in at 8%, a geriatric jogger with gout. 10-year CAGR Bitcoin delivers 83%. Compound growth so violent it requires a trigger warning. Real estate limps at 6%. Inflation's chew toy wagging its tail for a Fed treat. Translation for the door count cult, Bitcoin compounds like a nuclear chain reactor. Your duplex compounds like freezer burn on last year's casserole. Observe the delta. Bitcoin outpaces drywall by a factor of 7 to 10. That isn't alpha, that's an extinction level event for the cap rate club. And spare me the volatility whimper. Over 10 years, BTC turned 10K into a Lambo fleet. Your condo turned 10K into a slightly less beige condo. Volatility is the admission fee to Valhalla. Meanwhile, stability is the bus ticket to mediocrity. Final nail, if you'd snowballed Dave Ramsey's baby steps into Bitcoin a decade ago, you'd be measuring net worth in Salvadorian GDPs. Stick with real estate and you're measuring in soggy carpet square footage. Numbers don't care about your feelings, folks. They care about exponents, and Bitcoin is exponential incarnate. Welcome to the great compounding massacre. Drywall never stood a chance. Okay, fragile landlords, it's time to talk risk-adjusted reality. The part of the chart you pretend doesn't exist while quoting Kiyosaki memes. Sharp ratio 5-year window, BTC 1.05. That's a Ferrari-sized return per unit of terror. Real estate 0.4. That's the investment equivalent of a 1992 minivan with one working door. Translation for every ounce of anxiety, Bitcoin hands you caviar, houses hand you coupons for drywall patches. Max drawdown recovery, Bitcoin shrugged off an 83% faceplant and was back on its feet in under 30 months. The Rocky Balboa of finance, if you will. Real estate lost 27% in 2008 and needed a full 7-year government-sponsored spa day just to feel okay. If Bitcoin were a UFC fighter, it'd pop its shoulder back into place mid-round and grin. Your bungalow taps out, begs the Fed for morphine, and calls its mom. Best calendar year, Bitcoin was up 305% in 2020. While the whole planet was hoarding toilet paper, Satoshis were hoarding moon dust. Real estate's proudest flexed, up 14% in 2021. Like bragging you beat Usain Bolt in a three-legged sack race. Worst calendar year, Bitcoin down 64% in 2018. A gut punch, sure, but volatility is velocity wearing clown makeup. Real estate minus 8% in 2008 looks mild until you remember it nuked the global banking system and evicted grandma. So recap, Bitcoin is roller coaster physics, screams included, thrill guaranteed. Real estate is the slow motion merry-go-round run by an arthritic carny named Liquidity Crunch. Risk-adjusted returns aren't about avoiding pain, folks. They're about being compensated for it. Bitcoin pays danger money like a mercenary. Real estate tips you like a stingy diner. In this arena, Drywall's safety is a bedtime story. Bitcoin's volatility is a portal to outsized destiny. Choose whether you want a helmet or a pillow, because the numbers have already chosen their winner. Welcome to the Liquidity and Divisibility Thunderdome, where assets fight to turn into cash because your patience commits seppuku. Speed to money, Bitcoin converts to dollars in seconds. Faster than a realtor can finish saying it's all about leverage. Real estate needs 30 to 90 days of appraisals, inspections, and existential dread. That's not liquidity, that's hostage negotiation with Drywall. On-chain finality, Bitcoin about 10-minute settlement. Your transaction is carved into digital granite. Real estate settlement happens at a mahogany conference table where everyone signs 74 pages they haven't read, and even then the cashier's check can bounce. Market hours, Bitcoin trades 24/7, 365, including Christmas morning, nuclear winter, and whatever supply chain apocalypse is trending on CNBC. Real estate trades banker hours, closed on weekends, federal holidays, and days ending in "why is my buyer ghosting me?" Divisibility, Bitcoin splits into 100 million sats, microscopic liquidity shards you can shoot through a laser beam. Try selling 0.00001 of your kitchen cabinet. Spoiler, the lumberyard doesn't take Venmo. And appraisal Karen will fail it for structural integrity concerns. Need a fractional exit strategy? Need $500? Sell 0.0048 BTC, done before your coffee gets cold. Need $500 from a house? Good luck extracting a few old bricks without the sheriff asking questions. Global routing, Bitcoin hops borders like a VPN-powered kangaroo. 12 seed words in your skull and you're customs proof. Real estate is a slab of concrete that waves goodbye when you move, forever paying property tax to a zip code you no longer live in. So let's summarize. Bitcoin is liquid nitrogen, cold, instant, lethal to inefficiency. Real estate is molasses in February, slow, sticky, and beloved by ants and municipal tax collectors. If your capital can't sprint, it's chained. Bitcoin sprints, houses shuffle. Choose your cardio program accordingly. Welcome to Transaction Friction, the part where we pour glue on your cap rate calculator and watch the numbers suffocate. Time to cash Bitcoin. You blink, the money's there. Another blink, and it's already on a hardware wallet doing push-ups. Real estate, 30 to 90 days of escrow, inspections, and a buyer whose pre-approval evaporates faster than FTX's balance sheet. That's not liquidity, that's Stockholm Syndrome. Typical fees, Bitcoin is 0 to 0.5% exchange toll, or self-custody for the cost of exactly 0 licensed parasites. Real estate, 6% realtor ransom, plus 1% closing circus, plus 2% miscellaneous hemorrhage, equals 10% gone, like tipping your Burger King waiter your left kidney. Hidden toll booths, Bitcoin may be a network fee the size of a loose penny. Real estate, appraisal tax, inspection letter, survey fee, HOA resale packet, the financial equivalent of death by 1,000 paper cuts from stapled PDFs. Seller leverage, Bitcoin, cancel order, set new limit, done. Real estate, counter offer ping pong until someone cries or rates jump 50 basis points overnight and nuke the deal. Quick mental model, Bitcoin is a scalp pull, one clean incision. Real estate is a rusty spoon you're forced to use because the hospital board mandated traditional methods. If your asset needs a priest, a plumber, and a probate lawyer just to change owners, it's not an investment, it's a group project with local government. So when you hear someone brag, "I closed on a house today," translate that to "I just paid 10 grand in fees to upgrade my anxiety." Meanwhile, the Bitcoiner bought and sold twice while waiting in line for coffee and still made money after the caffeine crash. Transaction friction reveals the truth. Bitcoin is capital with Teflon. Real estate is capital wrapped in flypaper. Welcome to Cost Gravity, the black hole where real estate returns go to scream quietly. Maintenance drag Bitcoin equals 0%. Math doesn't need new shingles, it just keeps counting to 21 million. Real estate 1 to 4% of property value every year, a rot tax paid to mildew, and drunk tenants who think the wall is edible fiber. That's your IRR being chainsawed by entropy. Insurance Bitcoin optional steel seed plate buried in your backyard. One-time costs less than a Costco pizza run. Real estate, fire, flood, hurricane, earthquake, mold, liability, lost rent, hail the size of golf balls. Premiums rise annually like a zombie subscription you forgot to cancel. Property tax, Bitcoin 0. The protocol doesn't need roads, schools, or a mayor's brother-in-law on payroll. Real estate, eternal tithe to the county's budgetary black hole. Miss a payment and watch the sheriff auction your inheritance strategy on the courthouse steps. CapEx Reserve, Bitcoin $79 hardware wallet. Basically pocket lint for capital. Real estate, $12,000 roof, $8,000 HVAC, $30,000 foundation heave, an annual game of whack-a-mole where every mole carries an invoice. Visualize it. Bitcoin is a space probe just gliding friction-free through the vacuum. Real estate is a rusted cargo ship dragging barnacles the size of student loans. One defies gravity, the other writes checks to it. If your assets requires a part-time career in plumbing just to tread water, congratulations, you didn't buy an investment, you adopted a financially challenged Tamagotchi. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is off doing cosmic sprints, utterly unbothered by your leaking gutters. Gather round, ye property tax penitents. Tonight we exorcise the demon called tax exposure. And trust me, TurboTax can't save you. Number 1, Bitcoin the fiscal Houdini. Single cap gain event, HODL 12 months, take a long-term rate, drop your mic, vanish. Plant your flag in Puerto Rico, wave goodbye to capital gains entirely. Uncle Sam watches from a cruise ship, weeping into a Bud Light. No property tax, Bitcoin doesn't live in a zip code. It floats in cyberspace like a smug archangel immune to county assessors. No depreciation recapture because Bitcoin doesn't pretend to rot. You never have to repay phantom losses later. Portable loss harvesting need to offset gains? Flip some sats at 2 a.m. and rebuy in 31 seconds, not days. Bitcoin taxation is a choose-your-own-adventure novella. Real estate is the forever buffet for bureaucrats. Number 1, annual property tax, a life sentence tithe adjusted upward whenever your county needs a new community center nobody asked for. Depreciation recapture, the IRS's boomerang. Deduct now, pay later, plus interest. It's like borrowing happiness from a loan shark. The capital gain gauntlet, federal plus state plus NIIT. By the time you close, 3 governments split your equity like hungry velociraptors. Transfer and recording fees, death by notary. Every signature costs $40 and an ounce of your will to live. 1031 exchange mirage, deferred, don't escape. Kick the tax can down the road, paved with larger, uglier toilets to plunge. Salt deduction caps. State and local taxes over 10K. Kiss the write-off goodbye. Enjoy paying tax on the tax that taxes your tax. Owning real estate is like adopting an alligator, technically the owner, but it's the reptile that keeps getting fed. Coin is a stealth bomber on a tax holiday. Real estate is a parade float for auditors throwing 1099 confetti at your face. One lets you legally geo-arbitrage your rate to oblivion. The other straps you into a Skinner box, reward you with write-offs, then claws them back with chainsaws. So choose, do you want an asset that files 2 lines on TurboTax or the one that funds an entire IRS cafeteria by itself? Sovereignty tastes best when it's not garnished with a property tax bill. Welcome to the Capital Efficiency Coliseum. where we see which asset multiplies itself like horny rabbits and which one needs Viagra and government subsidies just to move the needle. Number 1, instant collateral speed kills. Bitcoin pledge sats on a lending desk at 3 a.m., pull 50 to 70% loan to value cash in under 10 minutes, repay, retrieve collateral, repeat. All before your instant ramen cools in the microwave. Real estate, HELOC underwriting, 6 weeks, a blood sample, your childhood report cards. One rate hike and the bank slams the door like a jealous ex. The takeaway is that Bitcoin is on-demand equity, real estate is equity on layaway, guarded by a bureaucrat with a clipboard and a gone-to-lunch sign. Number 2, carry trade, yield without a burst pipe. Bitcoin shuttle BTC into a collateralized note, earn yield in stablecoins, auto-roll weekly, liquidate instantly if spreads compress. Real estate, congratulations, your yield is rent minus vacancies, delinquency court costs, and the plumber named Roy who charges hazard pay for raccoon eviction. Bitcoin lets capital moonwalk between risk buckets. Real estate forces capital to cosplay as a property manager who cries into QuickBooks at 2 a.m. Supply elasticity, Bitcoin immutable 21 million issuance curve. Good luck lobbying Satoshi to print more. He's been silent since Obama was in office. Real estate, new subdivisions, vertical stacks, 3D printed stucco palaces. Supply inflates whenever zoning politicians need campaign donations. Bitcoin scarcity bleeds premium. Drywall supply elasticity bleeds resale value. Humans needed, Bitcoin zero. Real estate, you need realtors, tenants, city council, and Roy the plumber. Humans are failure points, folks. Less humans, more alpha. Bitcoin is an algorithm. Real estate is a soap opera with closing costs. Capital is a sprinter. It wants to lap the track, not wait for an underwriter to fax page 7 of your 2019 tax return. Bitcoin hands it track spikes and a jetpack. Real estate hands it concrete shoes and a coupon for 15% off sump pump repair. So when someone brags my duplex cash flows $200 a month, remind them that Bitcoin can earn that during a bathroom break, without ever painting trim and without ever begging the bank for permission to access its own equity. Counterparty risk. Who really owns your stuff? Bitcoin self-custody, multi-sig, no permission slips. Your private key is judge, jury, and vault door. Real estate, banks, HOAs, zoning boards, city councils, insurance adjusters, angry tenants, termites, an entire cast of Walking Dead extras with legal right to ruin your Tuesday. Bitcoin is a doomsday bunker in your head. Your house is a commune run by strangers who fine you for daring to plant a tomato. Seizure resistance, memorize 12 words with Bitcoin, cross any border undetected. Rematerialize your fortune like a sci-fi teleporter. Real estate, eminent domain letter arrives. Your forever home is now a freeway on-ramp named after the mayor's dog. Bitcoin is Houdini in a straitjacket. Real estate is Houdini cemented inside the straitjacket. Inside a safe, inside a courthouse basement. Auditability, open source truth versus Zillow fanfiction. Bitcoin, every Satoshi tracked on an immutable ledger. Real-time proof of reserves, forensic clarity that would make a CPA sob with joy. Real estate, comparable sales cooked up by Realtor Randy and appraiser Karen, spiced with optimism, blind luck, and an Excel file last updated during the Bush administration. Bitcoin uses cryptography. Houses use vibes. Guess which one the SEC prefers. Mobility, capital on wheels versus concrete shoes. Bitcoin, you can move billions at the speed of light. Relocate in a carry-on. Airports scan your socks, not seed phrases. Real estate, attempt to transport 40 tons of lumber and rebar across state lines. Watch DOT officials faint, then fine you. Mobility means optionality, and optionality prints alpha. Bitcoin is the cheetah, real estate is the hippo. Majestic, yes, but only until the river dries up. Real estate myth number 1, cash flow is king. My duplex spits out $200 a month. Reality check, that's not a king, that's a court jester juggling pennies while the roof leaks $60 of shingles every thunderstorm. Bitcoin cash flows and capital gains you can harvest before Uber delivers your tacos. And it doesn't phone you at 3 a.m. about a toilet apocalypse. Myth number 2, location, location, location. Sure, if you enjoy geopolitical roulette, Tornado Alley, Wildfire County, tax hike city council, Bitcoin's location is every node on Earth simultaneously. It can't burn, flood, or gentrify. Good luck redlining cyberspace. Myth number 3, leverage makes me rich. Mortgage leverage is a shotgun wedding to Jerome Powell's mood swings. One surprise rate hike and your infinite cash on cash turns into a GoFundMe for foreclosure fees. Bitcoin volatility at least has the courtesy to be honest. It never mails you a pink slip. Plus, if you want leverage, you can always buy Strategy or Metaplanets. The treasury companies are sitting there shining their swords in broad daylight. Myth number 4, tangible assets feel safe. The Titanic was laughable. Chernobyl, extremely tangible. Tangibility just means that gravity can drop it on your foot. Bitcoin is intangible. In the same way that math, radio waves, and orbital mechanics ignore your feelings and keep working. Myth number 5, property never goes to zero. Ask Detroit's $40 bungalows, or that Florida condo now doubling as an Atlantis tribute act. Bitcoin's drawdowns are violent but temporary. Houses can become worthless and underwater, literally and financially. Myth number 6, you can live in it. You can also live in a minivan. Nobody calls that an investment thesis. Housing is an expense you occasionally monetize. Bitcoin is an asset you occasionally spend. Spot the difference. Picture a 14th century peasant, shovel in hand, knees in mud, owing 30% of every harvest to a baron who's off jousting for Instagram clout. Fast forward, swap shovel for Home Depot credit card, mud for negative equity, baron for county tax assessor. Same cage, shinier bars. Your forever home is a feudal fief. HOA bylaws are the new sumptuary laws, forbidding you from painting your front door cosmic purple because it disturbs the neighborhood's aesthetic spirit. Bitcoin is not property, it is physics wearing a cryptographic cape. Fixed supply equals monetary Planck constant. Halving schedule equals metronome of economic truth. Hash power equals digital thermodynamics, a wall no bureaucrat can scale. No signatures, no notaries, no city planners with clipboards asking you if your node exceeds 2 pets per household. Bitcoin answers only to SHA-256 and the first law of thermodynamics. It does not RSVP to City Hall. Real estate worshippers brag land is eternal. Sure, so is entropy. Roofs leak, joints warp, foundations crack like your mommy and daddy's second marriage that was your fault. Every square foot is a tiny time bomb that converts your Saturday mornings into trips to Lowe's. Bitcoin has no atoms, therefore entropy can't chew it. It's pure information closer to a prime number than a property line. Houses tie capital to a GPS coordinate. Time dilates into maintenance schedules and refinancing cycles. Bitcoin compresses capital into light-speed liquidity, a photon of value, massless until observed by a market price. Owning Bitcoin is like owning a math equation, silent, omnipresent, and utterly unneedy. A county clerk can downgrade your castle to flood zone with one keystroke. FEMA suddenly owns your resale value. With Bitcoin, sovereign risk lives in one place, your passphrase hygiene. The protocol doesn't strike oil under your couch and invoke eminent domain. Real estate bows to termites, tornadoes, taxation, and time. Bitcoin bows to nothing but cold arithmetic. A priesthood of 1 billion CPU cycles praying to an incorruptible deity called consensus. Bitcoin is reality distilled. Real estate is gravity in disguise. Pick your priest, pick your planets, and may your capital find light. Ladies, gentlemen, and drywall custodians, thank you for attending tonight's autopsy. The patient real estate has been pronounced fiscally dead. Cause of death, blunt force mathematics delivered by 21 million cryptographic knives. We've proven that Bitcoin outgrows drywall like a redshift galaxy leaving a mud hut behind, out-liquefies mortgages like a laser slicing a snail, out-sovereigns HOAs the way a black hole outranks a pothole, outlasts entropy because numbers don't rot, they recurse. That's not an opinion, that's factual truth screaming into eternity. There are only 2 vectors for money. Number 1, toward gravity, maintenance, mildew, and property tax. Number 2, toward light, zero mass, borderless, immutable scarcity. Bitcoin is the second law of thermodynamics weaponized against entropy. Real estate is thermodynamics weaponized by entropy. You decide whether your wealth should orbit the sun or feed the termites. When historians autopsy this century, they'll find two kinds of people. Those who staked their future on sheetrock and hoped the Fed never sneezed, and those who uploaded their capital to the blockchain and went interstellar. The first group leaves a garage full of paint cans, the second leaves a private key etched on titanium, floating like a comet beyond jurisdictional reach. Bitcoin isn't a better investment, it's a dimensional upgrade, a jailbreak for capital. A cosmic ladder that lets wealth escape gravity, entropy, and bureaucrats, then laugh while the universe recalculates. My name is Adam Livingston, and I am the Bitcoin Wizard. Remember, this is not financial advice, this is financial entertainment. If you enjoyed this content, please like this video to help spread the Bitcoin truth to the masses and subscribe to the channel. Feel free to leave a comment telling me what to cover next. I'll see you folks tomorrow. I love you all. Class dismissed.